Okay, so this morning, a new trailer for a new Ghostbusters movie just dropped, Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I just happened to be in New York City at the site of the original Ghostbusters movie. So, okay, let's talk about this. As cool as it is to be here at the site of the original movie at the Ghostbusters Firehouse, it's actually still a working firehouse and it's not open for tours at all. Plus, it's not actually the site of the new films. And we're out here in the rain, so maybe I won't do the video in front of the firehouse. But look, there it is. That's pretty cool, right? And it's just as well that it's a working firehouse and not one I can go into to talk about the film. Because as I said, it looks like the movie doesn't even take place in New York, despite that being where all of the Ghostbusters films and video games and cartoons have taken place so far. And that's really interesting. But it's not actually what has me interested about this movie. What has me interested about Ghostbusters Afterlife is that it's a different way of thinking about a Ghostbusters sequel. At least compared to Ghostbusters 2 and Ghostbusters 2016, Answer the Call. And we're going to talk about that off mic because it's still raining. And there's almost nowhere in this town that I can sit quietly and talk without a lot of noise and not be rained on. So let's go talk about this movie real quick, and then I'm going to get back to my vacation. First, let's go over the plot real quick. From the new trailer, which I've only seen once so far because I had to watch it on the subway, we're seeing a family moving out, not to New York and the old firehouse, but to a farm in the middle of nowhere. And while out there in this small town, weird stuff's happening. There's no tectonic plates anywhere, but earthquakes seem to be shaking the town every single day. No one can figure out why until one of the kids finds some stuff hidden away in their barn. What looks like, to their summer school teacher, a replica of a ghost trap. But the kids ask what it's a replica of. And this is huge for how this movie is being staged, because it turns out, at least the trailer makes it seem like it turned out, that these kids are the grandchildren of Egon Spengler, the role played by the departed Harold Ramis. And they have never heard of ghosts, despite being his grandson. And that's huge. If you think about it, this is really playing off of what Ghostbusters 2 started. At the end of the original movie, the Ghostbusters stopped Gozer. But immediately after, it seemed like all paranormal activity just dropped off the map. The same thing seems to be true in the new movie, that ghosts are not a constant thing in the world, but something that only really appear when there's a large-scale paranormal event, like Gozer or the return of Vigo the Carpathian. And that's true in this. Every few years or 30 years in some length of time, something happens that makes ghosts re-emerge. And that's what's happening in this movie. The whole ghost thing has been dormant so long, people have forgot about it. And like in Ghostbusters 2, assumed it was a hoax or a scam. And now the kids are rediscovering it for the first time in a small town. A small town with weird paranormal things happening that no one else really believes in. Does that sound like Stranger Things to you? Well, it should, because one of the actors in the new movie is played by one of the main kids from Stranger Things. And that's got a lot of people thinking, maybe this isn't so much a Ghostbusters movie as a Stranger Things film with Ghostbusters themes. And although I don't personally subscribe to that interpretation of this trailer, I think it's a really important way to look at it as how we interpret things. Because inevitably, this is already going to be compared to not only Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, but Ghostbusters 2016, Answer the Call, which was a very different movie. Panned for a lot of reasons, some of them sexist, but some of them not. But I think the important thing to differentiate this movie between that is how it views Ghostbusters. And that's what I wanted to talk about really quick in this very short trailer review. Not the story of the trailer, not the setting, New York, or the lack of New York, but the fact that there's two ways to look at Ghostbusters. You can look at the Ghostbusters franchise as a platform for great comedians to show their stuff, to riff off each other, to ad-lib, to improvise on the spot and create something wholly unique that's based off of their comedic style. And that's the direction Paul Feig took with Ghostbusters 2016, using Ghostbusters as a platform for four funny people to stretch their comedic muscles. It wasn't about telling a story, it was about telling jokes. This new movie, on the other hand, seems to be taking the same approach as Ghostbusters comics, Ghostbusters video games, and Ghostbusters spin-off cartoons over the years. Ghostbusters as a platform for telling a family-friendly action-adventure story that happens to be funny. And that's a wildly different take. Both of those takes are completely valid, whether or not you liked the 2016 interpretation. Ghostbusters is as much about comedy as it is about adventure, and it always has been. And the fact that your personal tastes might not jive with certain comedians has nothing to do with that being valid or invalid. It's 100% valid, even if it's not your favorite. But I think for a lot of Ghostbusters fans, the kind of people who built up this fandom for this silly 80s ghost-chasing comedy over the last 30 plus years, the adventure element is really where it's at. And that's something really exciting to see. But it's way more than just exciting, it's essential. If Sony really wants Ghost Corps to create franchise films like The Avengers, but on the Ghostbusters brand, they're gonna need a lot more than just funny different comedians rotating through showing their stuff. They're gonna need an ongoing storyline. And so I like that this dips into that whole legacy of Ghostbusters 2 where people keep forgetting about the Ghostbusters and that it needs to keep coming back for big paranormal events. I like that it's focused on story, and I really hope they find a way to leverage it and maybe take a hint from the comics and other series that have a multiverse that finds a way to work in all the different versions of these characters across cartoons, video games, Ghostbusters 2016, and the original series. I think it shows a lot of promise in this initial trailer, and I'm excited to see a little bit more. But it is pouring rain here in New York. I'm tired, I am cold, and I am exhausted, so I'm gonna cut this video short and cut out all the other analysis I was thinking about doing, because this isn't working. As for why I'm doing this video, when I normally do a lot of things about cartoons and DuckTales, if you go way back in my archive, you'll find that my channel kind of started talking about Ghostbusters. It's something I've always liked from when I was a kid. In fact, the boots I'm wearing right now, I can't show you, are from a costume I'm building for Ghostbusters, so it's a big part of my fandom. As for where my videos have been recently, well, I'm in the process of moving, so my life is kind of hectic. And no, I'm not moving to New York, even though I'm in New York right now. This is a different trip altogether. But things are going to be slow for a little while, everyone, and I'm sorry about that. It's just, I'm currently having to move. My landlady is selling the place I'm living in, so I need to find a new home. And with all the stuff with COPPA and YouTube right now, things are crazy. But thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me while I'm traveling. And I hope this video worked out, because I'm going to try and edit it on an iPad in 15 minutes. Either way, thanks for watching, as always. And like I always say, take it easy out there, internet. Take it easy out there, internet, and hey, stay out of the rain.